Close your eyes for a second. It's 1986. You're sitting in a packed movie theater, or maybe on the living room floor at your grandparents' house, and those first notes of Danger Zone hit you like a jet engine. Your heart is racing. The sky is impossibly blue, and for 2 hours, you believed you could fly. That was 40 years ago. Today, there are so many videos using fake AI-generated photos and clickbait just to grab your attention. But not here, not today. We're bringing you the 100% true, fully verified updates, untold behind-the-scenes secrets, and a deeply nostalgic journey through every single major cast member of Top Gun. And here's what stunned us during research. One cast member quietly walked away from Hollywood to become a beloved university professor, and we lost him far too soon. Another star hadn't spoken publicly in years until a groundbreaking piece of technology gave him back his voice for one final, unforgettable scene. And the actress who played the most iconic love interest of the 80s? She chose something that Hollywood will never understand, and we think it's absolutely beautiful. Let's see where the cast of Top Gun truly is in 2026. We're starting with the man himself, Tom Cruise, the cocky, leather jacket-wearing, motorcycle-riding fighter pilot who made an entire generation want to join the Navy. Maverick wasn't just a character, he was a cultural earthquake. Born July 3rd, 1962, Cruise was just 23 years old when he filmed Top Gun. In 2026, he is 63 years old. Here's something the casual fan might not know. Before Top Gun, Cruise had already starred alongside an incredible cast in Francis Ford Coppola's The Outsiders back in 1983, sharing the screen with Patrick Swayze, Rob Lowe, Matt Dillon, and Emilio Estevez. That film was basically a factory for future megastars. And where is Tom Cruise today? Still doing the impossible, literally. In 2025, he returned as Ethan Hunt, one final time in Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, which featured a stunt where he hung from a flying biplane. At 63, this man still refuses to let a stunt double have any fun. With a career spanning over 4 decades, films grossing more than $13 billion worldwide, and a 40-year-old film getting a theatrical re-release in May 2026 for its anniversary, Tom Cruise isn't slowing down, he's accelerating. But while Maverick was busy being the most famous pilot in movie history, there was one woman who made him lose his cool at 30,000 feet. Kelly McGillis, Charlie, the astrophysicist, the Top Gun instructor who walked into that bar and made Maverick forget every flight maneuver he ever learned. She was the definition of cool, confident, and effortlessly brilliant, and she made audiences fall in love right alongside Cruise. Born July 9th, 1957, McGillis was 28 years old during filming. In 2026, she is 68 years old. Before Top Gun, Kelly had already turned heads starring opposite Harrison Ford in Witness in 1985, a role that earned her Golden Globe and BAFTA nominations. And after Top Gun, she delivered a powerhouse performance in The Accused alongside Jodie Foster in 1988. She was on a trajectory to be one of the biggest stars in Hollywood. But here's where Kelly's story becomes something truly special. She stepped away from the Hollywood spotlight, and we say this with nothing but admiration, to build a life on her own terms. She moved to Hendersonville, North Carolina, where she teaches acting at the New York Studio for Stage and Screen in Asheville. She has been open and courageous about her personal journey, including coming out publicly in 2009. She was not invited back for Top Gun Maverick, and she handled it with remarkable grace, saying she had moved on. Kelly McGillis chose peace over fame, authenticity over applause, and that is not a Hollywood ending, that's a victory. Now, Kelly shared the screen with a man whose rivalry with Maverick became the stuff of legend. And the story of what happened to him is one that still breaks our hearts. We need to stop the countdown here, because this is not just another cast update. This is a moment of silence for one of the most fearless, brilliant, and unforgettable actors of his generation. Val Kilmer, Iceman. The teeth-clinking, ice-cold rival who stole every single scene he was in, not by being louder than Tom Cruise, but by being cooler. That signature jaw clench. That predatory stare. Iceman didn't need to raise his voice. He just needed to look at you. Born December 31st, 1959, Val was 26 years old when he filmed Top Gun. After Top Gun, Val Kilmer didn't just become a star, he became a shapeshifter. He became Jim Morrison in The Doors in 1991, delivering a performance so eerily accurate that the surviving band members said they had trouble telling his voice from Morrison's. He became Doc Holliday in Tombstone in 1993, a role many consider the single greatest supporting performance in Western film history. He became Batman in Batman Forever. He went toe-to-toe with Robert De Niro and Al Pacino in Heat. The range was staggering. In 2014, Val was diagnosed with throat cancer. A tracheal procedure damaged his vocal cords, and the voice that had given life to so many iconic characters fell silent. But Val never stopped creating. He published a memoir called I'm Your Huckleberry. He released a deeply moving documentary simply titled Val. And in 2022, he returned one last time as Admiral Tom Iceman Kazansky in Top Gun, Maverick communicating through typed words on a screen because he could no longer speak. An AI company helped reconstruct his original voice for a few precious lines of dialogue. The scene where Maverick and Iceman reunite is not acting. It's two old friends saying goodbye. And every single person in that theater felt it. Val Kilmer passed away on April 1st, 2025, at the age of 65, from pneumonia. He was at home in Los Angeles, surrounded by family. They passed away in 2025, but their legacy feels like a warm hug every time we rewatch. Val, you were never just Iceman. You were fire and poetry and absolute fearlessness. And we will always, always be your Huckleberry. Val's final scene in Maverick was a reunion with Tom Cruise. But in the original Top Gun, there was another bond that meant even more to Maverick, a friendship so genuine it still makes us cry 40 years later. If you watched Top Gun and didn't cry when Goose died, we need to check if you have a pulse. Anthony Edwards gave us the most lovable best friend in movie history. Goose was the heart of Top Gun, the dad joke machine, the piano player, the man who reminded Maverick that there was more to life than being the best. Born July 19th, 1962, Edwards was just 23 years old during filming. In 2026, he is 63 years old. Before he was Goose, Edwards had already made his mark as the king of lovable nerds in Revenge of the Nerds in 1984. But the role that would truly define his career came 8 years after Top Gun when he was cast as Dr. Mark Green on ER in 1994. He became one of the highest-paid actors on television, reportedly earning $35 million over 3 seasons, and won a Golden Globe for the role. His death scene on ER remains one of the most devastating moments in television history. Yes, Anthony Edwards has made us ugly cry not once, but twice. Today, Anthony Edwards is thriving. He married his longtime friend and fellow actor Mare Winningham at the end of 2021 and has been active on Broadway, including a role in the 2024 production of Prayer for the French Republic. He also appeared in Netflix's Inventing Anna and Apple's We Crashed. Fun fact, his grandfather designed the original Walt Disney Studios in the 1930s. Edwards chose to step back from the spotlight to raise his children when he could have stayed on ER forever. That's a Goose move if we ever saw one family first, always. Speaking of Goose's family, there was a young actress who played his wife in Top Gun. She had about 5 minutes of screen time, and then she went on to become one of the biggest movie stars on the planet. Before she was America's Sweetheart, before I'll Have What She's Having, before Sleepless in Seattle and You've Got Mail, Meg Ryan was Carole Bradshaw, Goose's adoring wife and the mother of his child. Her screen time in Top Gun was small, but her presence was magnetic. Born November 19th, 1961, Ryan was 24 years old during filming. In 2026, she is 64 years old. After Top Gun, Meg Ryan became the undisputed queen of the romantic comedy. When Harry Met Sally in 1989 made her a global star. She paired with Tom Hanks not once, not twice, but 3 times in Joe vs. the Volcano, Sleepless in Seattle, and You've Got Mail. She also reunited with Val Kilmer in The Doors and with Tim Robbins, another Top Gun co-star in IQ. The Top Gun alumni just kept finding each other. In more recent years, Meg stepped behind the camera to direct. Her 2015 film Ithaca was a family affair. Her son, Jack Quaid, appeared alongside Tom Hanks. In 2023, she returned with What Happens Later, which she directed, co-wrote, and starred in. Meg Ryan proved that you don't have to stay in the spotlight to stay relevant. You just have to stay true to yourself. While Meg went on to conquer romantic comedies, there was a quiet veteran on set who brought the wisdom, the man who played the father figure every pilot wished they had. Tom Skerritt as Viper, the silver-haired commander who knew Maverick's father, who pushed him to be better, and who delivered that legendary speech about courage. Viper wasn't just an instructor. He was the moral compass of the entire film. Born August 25, 1933, Skerritt was already 52 years old during filming, a seasoned veteran. In 2026, he is an incredible 92 years old. Before Top Gun, Skerritt had already built one of the most impressive resumes in Hollywood. He played Captain Dallas in Ridley Scott's Alien in 1979, yes, the commander of the Nostromo. He also starred alongside Donald Sutherland and Elliot Gould in Robert Altman's MAS×H back in 1970. This man has been a pillar of cinema for over 6 decades. After Top Gun, Skerritt won an Emmy for Picket Fences in 1993, appeared in Steel Magnolias, A River Runs Through It, and Contact. He has well over 100 acting credits. Even into his late 80s, he remained active, starring in the 2021 drama East of the Mountains. At 92, Tom Skerritt is a living legend, and the fact that he's still with us is a gift. Viper was the voice of reason at Top Gun. But there was another instructor on that base who loved to make the pilots sweat, and that man went on to become one of the most recognizable character actors in sci-fi history. Michael Ironside, the man, the myth, the gravelly voice of absolute authority. As Jester, he was the Top Gun instructor who was both impressed and infuriated by Maverick's reckless flying. That "you're in a flat spin heading out to sea" scene, chills every single time. Born February 12th, 1950 in Toronto, Canada, Ironside was 36 years old during filming. In 2026, he is 76 years old. You absolutely know this man's face, even if you don't know his name. After Top Gun, Ironside went on a legendary run of villain roles. Richter in Total Recall alongside Arnold Schwarzenegger in 1990, Rasczak in Starship Troopers in 1997, and a terrifying telepath in David Cronenberg's Scanners in 1981, the film that actually launched his career. His voice also became iconic in the video game world as Sam Fisher in the Splinter Cell franchise. With over 270 credits, this man has been working non-stop. Ironside has kept acting consistently, appearing in X-Men, First Class, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and The Dropout. He was notably absent from Top Gun Maverick, and has been open about the fact that he and producer Jerry Bruckheimer didn't exactly see eye to eye. Regardless, the man's legacy is bulletproof. Jester terrorized the pilots from the instructor's seat. But up in the sky, there was a co-pilot who didn't get nearly enough credit, Iceman's right-hand man, and one of the most underrated characters in the film. Rick Rossovich is Slider Iceman's loyal radar intercept officer, and the guy who delivered one of the most quotable lines in the film. Slider was cocky, physical, and completely devoted to his pilot. He was the wingman's wingman. Born August 28, 1957, Rossovich was 28 years old during filming. In 2026, he is 68 years old. Here's a fact that will blow your mind. Before Top Gun, Rossovich appeared in The Terminator in 1984, playing Ginger's boyfriend Matt, one of the first characters the Terminator encounters. He was also in the first film where Tom Cruise had a lead role, a little movie called Los in It, from 1983. These two go way back. And after Top Gun, he starred in Steve Martin's beloved comedy Roxanne in 1987, and the military action film Navy SEALs in 1990, reuniting with Bill Paxton and Michael Biehn. And here's where Rick's story becomes beautifully quiet. By the early 2000s, Rossovich stepped away from acting entirely. He relocated to Sweden with his wife Eva and focused on family and travel. In an interview, he reflected warmly on his 25-year acting career and expressed zero regrets about choosing a peaceful life. He bonded deeply with Val Kilmer on set, calling their connection like brothers. That friendship was real, and Rick's choice to leave Hollywood on his own terms, that's not giving up. That's winning. While Slider found peace in Sweden, another Top Gun pilot found his calling behind the camera, and his niece became one of the biggest music stars in the world. John Stockwell is Cougar, the pilot who froze in the opening scene, who turned in his wings, and whose departure opened the door for Maverick to enter Top Gun. It's a small but absolutely crucial role. Without Cougar's breakdown, there is no movie. Born March 25, 1961 in Galveston, Texas, Stockwell was 25 years old during filming. In 2026, he is 64 years old. Before Top Gun, Stockwell starred alongside another horror legend in John Carpenter's Christine in 1983, playing Dennis Gilder. He also starred in Losin' It with Tom Cruise, just like Rossovich. But the real twist in John's career is what happened next. He moved behind the camera and became a successful director. He directed Blue Crush in 2002, Into the Blue with Jessica Alba in 2005, and The Kickboxer reboot in 2016. Oh, and here's a fun fact that will make you do a double take. John Stockwell's niece is none other than Florence Welch, the frontwoman of Florence and the Machine. Yes, that Florence. Stockwell is also a lifelong surfer, and his passion for the ocean has influenced nearly all of his directorial projects. He's been married since 1992, has 3 children, and continues to direct. From fighter pilot to film director to rock star's uncle, not a bad life. Speaking of pilots who went on unexpected journeys, Maverick's replacement co-pilot had only a few scenes in Top Gun. But that quiet young actor was about to become one of the most respected names in cinema. Tim Robbins as Merlin, the pilot who stepped in as Maverick's new radar intercept officer after the loss of Goose. His role in Top Gun was small, but his talent was already enormous. You could feel it even in those few scenes. This guy was going places. Born October 16, 1958, Robbins was 27 years old during filming. In 2026, he is 67 years old. After Top Gun, Tim Robbins went on one of the most extraordinary runs in Hollywood history. Bull Durham in 1988 made him a star. Jacob's Ladder in 1990 was a psychological masterpiece. The Player in 1992 earned him the Best Actor award at Cannes. And then came The Shawshank Redemption in 1994, where his portrayal of Andy Dufresne became one of the most beloved performances in film history. He won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for Mystic River in 2003. Oh, and he reunited with Tom Cruise in Steven Spielberg's War of the Worlds in 2005. In recent years, Robbins appeared in Hulu's Castle Rock, the Stephen King anthology series, and had a role in Season 1 of Apple TV's Silo. He's also deeply involved in theater, running the Actors Gang Theater Company for decades. At 67, Tim Robbins has nothing left to prove. He's an Oscar winner, a director, a theater pioneer, and forever Merlin. Tim Robbins went from a small cockpit role to Oscar glory. But our next cast member took a path no one saw coming, from the silver screen to the university classroom. We need to pause the countdown one more time, because this is another soul we lost too soon. Clarence Gilyard Jr., Sundown, the pilot who flew alongside Maverick in the skies. His role in Top Gun was his very first film appearance, his movie debut, and what a way to begin. Born December 24th, 1955 Christmas Eve in Moses Lake, Washington, Gilyard was 30 years old during filming. After Top Gun, Clarence became one of the most recognizable faces on television. He played the wisecracking computer hacker Theo in Die Hard in 1988, delivering one of the most entertaining villain performances in the film. He starred as private investigator Conrad McMasters on Matlock alongside Andy Griffith. And then he became Jimmy Trivette, Chuck Norris's partner on Walker, Texas Ranger, appearing in all 196 episodes across 8 seasons. That's not a guest appearance. That's a legacy. But here's what makes Clarence's story extraordinary. After decades in front of the camera, he chose to give back. He earned a Master of Fine Arts from Southern Methodist University and joined the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, as an associate professor of film and theater. He became Professor G, beloved by every student who walked through his door. When asked how he was doing, he would always say the same thing: blessed. Clarence Gilyard Jr. passed away on November 28, 2022, at the age of 66 after a long illness. They passed away in 2022, but their legacy feels like a warm hug every time we rewatch. Clarence, you went from fighter pilot to action star to the kind of teacher who changes lives. That's not leaving Hollywood, that's graduating from it. There are a few more faces from that legendary cast who deserve their moment. Let's bring them home. Barry Tubb as Wolfman, one of the elite Top Gun pilots who stood shoulder to shoulder with the best of the best. quiet but reliable, just like the man who played him. Born in 1,963 inches, Snyder, Texas, Tubb was around 22 years old during filming. In 2026, he is approximately 62 years old. After Top Gun, Tubb appeared in the legendary Western miniseries Lonesome Dove in 1989, one of the greatest Westerns ever put on television. He also stepped behind the camera to direct Grand Champion in 2002, a family film shot in his Texas hometown. Barry Tubb is a true Texas cowboy. He actively participates in rodeo events and cowboy culture gatherings to this day. He made headlines in 2024 when he sued Paramount for using his likeness in Top Gun Maverick without consent. But beyond the legal world, Barry is living the authentic cowboy life and loving every second of it. Not everyone needs Hollywood. Some people just need a horse and an open sky. Whip Hubley as Hollywood, one of the Top Gun pilots competing alongside Maverick and Iceman, a solid supporting role in one of the biggest films of the decade. Born in 1957, Hubley was around 28 years old during filming. In 2026, he is approximately 68 years old. After roles in Ruskies in 1987 and appearances throughout the 90s, Whip Hubley quietly stepped away from the entertainment industry in the early 2010s. He now works in construction management in Maine while performing in local community theater. He's married to Dinah Minot, a former Saturday Night Live producer. From Hollywood the call sign to Hollywood the town to the coast of Maine, Whip found his peace, and we love that for him. You know this face. You absolutely know this face. James Tolkan is Stinger, the no-nonsense commanding officer of the USS Enterprise Carrier Air Group, who chewed out Maverick in one of the most intense scenes in the film. That bald head, that booming voice, that finger pointed right at you. Born June 20th, 1931, in Calumet, Michigan, Tolkan was 55 years old during filming. In 2026, he is an astonishing 94 years old. If Stinger's face looks familiar, it should, because James Tolkan is also the legendary Principal Strickland from the Back to the Future trilogy. You're a slacker, McFly. That's the same man. He also appeared in War Games, Masters of the Universe, and Dick Tracy. He was Sidney Lumet's go-to tough guy, appearing in both Serpico and Prince of the City. Tolkan retired from acting around 2015 after appearing in the Western horror film Bone Tomahawk. In 2025, he delighted audiences by reuniting with Michael J. Fox to reenact one of their famous Back to the Future scenes. At 94, James Tolkan remains a beloved figure, the man who could make you feel like you were in detention just by looking at you. Adrian Pasdar had a small role as Chipper, one of the pilots at the Top Gun school. Blink and you might miss him, but this guy was just getting started. Born April 30th, 1965, Pasdar was just 21 years old during filming, one of the youngest cast members. In 2026, he is 60 years old. After Top Gun, Pasdar went on to star in the cult vampire film Near Dark in 1987. Directed by Kathryn Bigelow, who would later become the first woman to win the Academy Award for Best Director. He's best known to television audiences as Nathan Petrelli on the hit series Heroes. He also directed the neo-noir film Cement in 2000. Pasdar has kept working consistently in both film and television, proving that even the smallest role in a blockbuster can launch a remarkable career. All right, before we go, two things. Number one, the fan challenge. With a cast this massive and a movie this legendary, I absolutely know that I might have missed a favorite guest star, a background pilot, or a detail that only a true Top Gun superfan would catch. Who did I leave out? What did I get wrong? Correct me in the comments. I dare you. And number two, the couch. We didn't just watch Top Gun, we grew up with it. It was the movie playing on the VCR when the whole family was together. It was the soundtrack blasting from your older brother's boombox. It was your dad quoting Viper and your mom laughing at Goose. So here's my question, and I want you to really think about this one. If you could go back to the exact living room where you first watched Top Gun with the same couch, the same TV, the same terrible lighting, who would you want sitting next to you one more time? Maybe it's a parent, maybe it's a grandparent, maybe it's a best friend who moved away, maybe it's someone who isn't here anymore. Honor them below, type their name, tell us who they were. Because those memories, those people, they're the reason we watch these movies in the first place. Subscribe to keep our golden memories alive. And the next time you hear Danger Zone, smile, because somewhere, on some couch, in some living room, it's 1986 again. And everyone you love is right there beside you. I feel the need to thank you for watching. See you in the next one.